Take one. Inaugural conversation with friend. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep. Oh, put this out. All right. Hey guys.
Hello guys.
Do things in an echo? Whatever. Hey guys, welcome back. This video, we have my really good friend Tim. I've known him since I was 10, 15. I've known him since high school.
How did we meet?
Through my brother. Yeah. And I had a really big crush on him when he was tutoring me algebra 2.
Was it algebra 2?
Or geometry, I don't know, I don't remember. Anyway, meet Tim.
Hello.
Awesome guy. You guys will see why. Please introduce yourself.
Cool, my name is Tim. I currently am working in a company called Tint that I started about 4 or 5 years ago. And we build marketing software for brands. And now we're at about 30 some people and running it for the last 4 years. It's been a good journey. I remember the story where my single mother would ask me on the car we were driving back home, hey, like, what do you want to maybe be when you grow up? And I was like,
how old are you?
Maybe like 6 years old. Maybe like
6 years old.
Right, so you're just like,
start them young.
There's still like no boundaries yet. Nothing's like jaded you yet. I was like, I wanted to be a hotel manager or the first Asian-American president of the United States.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. He got close. He got close in high school.
When I grew up with a single mother. My mother and my father divorced, I believe, when I was 2 years old. Our family is not that close to each other. Vacations were the one moment where all the whole family members would like be together and then like enjoy each other. So I was like, ooh, like I want to be a hotel manager because I want to have more of those.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, like don't worry about us. We'll figure it out. Focus on helping others outside of us. So I decided like, let's go politics and let's go solve problems for people and it's going to be great. And then you start to go into the experiences. So I ran for like student government all through like middle school and high school and elementary school. And then in college decided to keep going after it by doing more student government, interning at US senators and state senators' offices to just kind of get my feet wet. And really quickly realized it was really slow. There was a lot of established and legacy rules that you have to follow. And just like very inefficient processes that like could not be changed. And I was just like really frustrated with that. And I was like, there's gotta be an easier or better way to just solve problems. What's another route? I had worked at a small bakery in high school where I gave free cream puffs away to like all my friends. And I was like so cool because of that.
I'm 2 years younger than him. And because he was ASP president, all of my girlfriends and girls younger than us even would just be like, oh my God, Tim! Oh
really?
my God, cream puffs!
I was so cool at that time.
He's like a big nerd that he didn't even know. He's like, what are girls? What are those?
Who are females?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. So I worked at a bakery and they were super like startup like energy, just like there was no rules. You just got to figure it out as you go along. And I had the most awesome experience. I was like so addicted to it because there's all these problems, even though small scale, but like you have so much autonomy and like decision making to just get it done. But most importantly, like be able to like learn along the way. So that combined with like how inefficient politics was, the impact it could still make around you and the community around you, was both of those combination made me look at entrepreneurship as the path to solve problems efficiently and then hopefully at a scale that's impactful for others. You know, in the beginning, I would say that because I grew up with my single mother, there would be times where I would think about what I could do in my life to make her really proud because she was pouring everything in time and effort into raising us. And I was like, man, I cannot let her down. I was thinking like more big, like, okay, let's solve problems and let's figure this out. And so, you know, entrepreneurship naturally fell on my lap and then went through that route. And that was the main thing that kept me going every day was like, I need to make sure my single mother's work did not go in vain and I can make her proud. And if she is proud, then it means the world. Like that to me meant success. As that was achieved, she like very explicitly told me that she was very proud and very happy and excited for me. It was very rare to hear, and maybe because out of naivety and not understanding what I was doing.
Yeah.
Hey, like I'm really proud of your business and like you just like your habits of like doing what you did to grow the business. And that, yeah, so that when I heard that, I was very content and satisfied. And I had achieved that definition of success for me. At that point, it was like, uh-oh, we need to redefine this. We need to redefine this, reflect on this. So now, today, after that happened, what keeps me going is I have this like fascination to try new things or question traditional business practices that I don't find as efficient.
Examples.
A lot of companies like to hide information from their employees. We practice a full transparent information sharing where everybody knows like each other's salaries. Everyone can keep in touch with like what everyone is working on. Like we set up processes for that. People can be part of really big decision making, but we balance it with like tiebreaker situations and stuff like that. So like that's an example, right? Like I questioned that before, and though people may say that it's the right thing to do, I want to see if there's another way to do it that still achieves the outcome that we all want, which is a growing, thriving business. So yeah, that's one of the main things that like drives me today, which is like questioning traditional business practices, proving that it can work, and then ultimately not say that it's the be-all end-all rule, but be another example or data point for people to have in their arsenal when they need to make a decision like this in the future. If Tint can, or sort of like our practices, and I say our as like a whole team, can prove that this different route exists and it's there for you to be aware about, maybe they use it, maybe they don't, but they're aware about it because of us, that would mean huge success to me.
So that's what success means to you in the realm of Tint and business and professional Tim.
Yeah.
What about success in personal Tim's life?
Yeah.
And I'm sure these two are the same people, but just to make it easier.
There's a little distinction. There's a small distinction, I would say. Yeah, so I think this year I started really asking myself that because there were many times throughout the past few years that I completely abandoned my personal life, right? I completely focused on the company. I sacrificed relationships. Previous ex-girlfriends broke up with me because I focused so much.
I was just going to poke and make him talk about that, but you talked about it.
Totally the case. I abandoned that completely, and it wasn't until this year that I started to put some more time and intention into like thinking what that is to me. I haven't necessarily fully defined it yet, but all I know is that I draw a lot towards being able to learn as much as possible and then disseminate that information as much as possible. If I can absorb information, not only information from like a scientific point of view, but also culturally, like immersing myself in different cultures and learning that, and then be a living person that just can give that information out back to people so that they can understand like there's so much out in this like beautiful world that they can absorb, I would be very satisfied. And one question I ask myself a lot of times is that if I'm 99 years old right now and I'm on my deathbed, what would I be most happy about that I was able to accomplish in life? Or like what would I like make sure that I accomplished before that happened? And then you realize, you snap back right now, you realize you have all these years to go accomplish that.
And it's a really good way to make decisions too.
Yeah.
When you're 99 on your deathbed, are we gonna care about any of the things
absolutely, right?
we care about now?
Absolutely.
Or this decision that we're about to make?
Totally. It's a good question to ask yourself at the end of the day too, because like when you're in a work day, you have like all these decisions to make, and you think it's like the end of the world if you make this like
end all be all.
Yeah, you make this like small decision, like or in your mind really big, yes. But like when you scale it back to the world, like it's so small. You only have this many finite years to live, and like don't worry about it so much, right? Or not only that, but like sometimes if I have like very conflicting decision to make and I'm like stuck in the middle, that's the default question I ask, but I frame it a little bit differently. I'm like, if I'm 99 years old right now and I reflect back on the decision of a yes or a no, which one would I be more happy with?
That's good. Because I usually hear people say which one would I regret more, but I like the happy.
Happy, yeah. I like happy. Which one would I be more happy with?
So one thing that you just said about we're just this little thing in this giant universe, it reminds me of, do you remember when we're younger, maybe in science class, there's that eagle eye view that zooms in on, it's like on a girl at a park.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Yeah,
and then it goes all the way, you see like the city, and then you see Earth, and then you go all the way
Universe,
out of
galaxies.
Hopefully I can find it and I'll link it somewhere down below.
Yeah, it brings such a great perspective of it. So we're going through our first round of layoffs. This is your baby that you're like growing, and like it's almost like maybe their fingers got cut off.
Oh no!
You're just like, ouch, right? It's like, ouch, that hurts a lot. Yeah, and then I realized like, man, I pushed so hard into this company, and like I gave all my life, I sacrificed all my personal life for it. This will still happen. Inevitable challenges will still occur. And I was like, man, if that's the case, then why am I pushing so hard when there's like so much more to enjoy? It's like,
so when you think about other things to enjoy, just like outside of work, like
life outside of work. Like if no matter what, I hate to say that, but like I believe that like no matter what, there will be inevitable challenges that occur in the future of the company, and like it'll be really shitty to the point where it may be shut down or we fail. But if that's something that I think will very much probably happen, then let's go have fun while we keep doing this, right? Let's go explore more while we keep doing this. And so the second one, though, is like I started talking to founders or CEOs that have exited, right? Or have liquidated themselves or exited their company. And they're rich, right? Isn't that something that all entrepreneurs want? Absolutely, right? They think about that. But at the same time, they told me they weren't happy, right? It's almost like it shakes your world because you're like, whoa, that's my goal, but like that defines happiness.
And that's where most people want to go.
Absolutely, and yet they're still not happy. And there's a variety of reasons, right? Like they forget all their friends and their family and their relationships, to not taking care of themselves mentally or physically. There's a lot of things that can lead to that. But it was like, whoa, like someone who's at the end goal that I thought I wanted to be said that they're not happy. That changes a lot. I think there's this quote from like Jim Carrey mentioning, Jim Carrey out of all people, right? He's like, I wish.
He had a really good graduation speech.
Yeah, he did. I think he said like, he wishes more people were rich and famous so people can understand being rich and famous is not that great. So you know, a couple of those factors and a little bit more like made me start to rethink, whoa, if being rich and famous can be very empty, and people already at the end goal like is not happy, and I've already given up so much and shit will still happen, then why am I still so focused on this one thing and giving it everything and then like sacrificing so much of your personal health and relationships? Your youth. Absolutely.
Our youth.
Absolutely. Oh, so true. So true. So yeah, there's those couple factors that really started to shape me back into like thinking like, man, if there is so much in life to experience, then let's just go start experimenting with it, right? And it could be a variety of things, whether it's acquiring new skill sets, new languages, new practices. So a couple things I started picking up was first meditation. So I meditate every day in the morning now. And I realized like books was a very flexible and easy way to acquire new information at my own time. So I started picking up books. We can talk all about that later.
And we will.
Pick up books. Decided to go try to learn a new language. So I'm trying to pick up Italian now for fun.
Actually, there's just a couple of favorite books. Or a couple that you've read recently.
Yeah.
Favorite books of all time.
The first one that inspired me that then made me get a tattoo was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Another book that I recently finished. It's been around for a very long time, but and then I wish it was renamed, was The 4-Hour Workweek. Have you read it?
Yeah. Or I'm like 30-40%.
I wish it was renamed, but it's an amazing book to just teach you that the existing processes, societal rules today are man-made by someone probably no more intelligent than you, and it just maybe got picked up by society as like the thing to do. But if you spend time to like think and like understand and dissect what the issue is and what the problem is, you'll realize there are many, many, many other solutions out there to solve for that. And the only difference between you and another individual who doesn't is that it actually takes time and it takes intelligence to like figure those out. And then right now, I'm reading this book called Small Giants, where it's a case study of 16 other companies that decided to be great instead of being big. So again, this whole concept of there are other paths out there. It takes time and focus and intelligence and intention to figure those out. But if you can, there are absolutely many other paths to take. And the path you're taking right now, like it could have been created by someone that just happened to create it and everyone followed because it was the easy thing to do.
It's easier to swim along the stream than to swim against the stream.
That's absolutely true. Now, that being said, there are processes or systems in place today in our society that are the most efficient or the most practical. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm not saying that you have to question everything. I'm saying if there's something unhappy with your life that you think a process or system or societal norm is forcing you to do it, you can question it. You can turn it upside down and find other solutions to counter that. I truly think each person's life is dealt a card of hands that, sorry, a set of cards, a hand of cards, whatever it is. You're dealt cards that is so unique to you, right? The way you grew up, the situation you were in, habits you picked up. All these things combined gives you this like set of cards in your hands that makes you you and are sort of your own constraints that you have to live with. And a process or a societal norm today that tells you that that's the way to go. Your cards probably, if you're dealt with a card of hands and you have all these constraints, it won't fit into a path that's already created, because that path that was created or the societal norm that was created only considered maybe these constraints. Which is why one of the big reasons I think about challenging today's norms or today's typical practices is because it just won't fit my constraints or won't fit what my life is about. And I believe that if you take the time and you take the intention to like figure it out, you can figure something out, but it takes effort.
It takes a lot of effort.
It does.
And there will be a lot of resistance, but if you can break through, that journey will be all that much more worthwhile.
If anything, my best advice around that is finding other community people around your community to share that journey with, and it keeps you each other accountable, helps you come up with new ideas with each other, but just surrounding yourself with the right people around your community would help the best on that.
So I have a question that I know a lot of people ask. How do you go about finding these communities, or what have you done? Yeah,
the best way, so when I think like, okay, I want to find like mindful people, I want to find people that like challenge traditional practices and all that stuff. So over the mindful stuff, I was like, where do they hang out? Like you think like, where do they hang out? And
so you start with a specific
quality of a person,
uh-huh.
right? And I'll be like, what do they draw towards? What would they go to? What kind of events would they go to? What kind of things do they read and follow? So with the mindfulness one, and I've been very intentional practicing more mindfulness and empathy and gratitude, I was like, meditation centers. Like they must be there. So I went to a meditation center and I found them. I was like, yes, these are all people that like if anything, I've asked myself and talked to myself and given myself advice on that they do themselves. And I was like, there's a great connection there.
My people are there.
There's the people there.
There they are.
There they are. Another one is like, I want to find people who like question traditional business practices and like know that it's okay. So you start with maybe a friend that like you very like connect well with on this kind of topic.
Yeah.
Then you ask like, oh, who else do you think maybe can you connect me with like one other person that shares your values very similarly?
That's really smart. It's like cold but warm connections.
It's all warm connections,
warm
right?
Interest.
Yeah, because it's a referral that they can give that little check mark of not being a creepy person. Plenty of times happens all throughout work, and I think it happens far too often, and I'm being more aware of that. I think first step is to like make sure you can identify that, right? Whatever method you use, like identifying that and being very honest about it with yourself. Think about it like a bar where if you cross a 50% threshold and I don't want it to blow off blow off the lid, I'll drop everything. I'll just like stand up from my desk. I'll go take a walk and then do either a guided meditation or just meditative music, and then taking deep breaths. And then afterwards, maybe like a 10-minute walk, you'll just feel so much better. And it's this concept of taking things slower or living life slower. And it's like when you walk around and you're just taking deep breaths, nothing's trying to distract you, you're taking life much slower. And when you can do that, all these things will click where it's like, man, all these things don't matter, all this frustration doesn't matter, and it just starts to come together.
The first thing that comes to mind though is in the industry that you're working in, where growth and quick and fast, now. How do you balance that?
Yeah.
How do you find the right pace?
So it's the first thing I would make sure people understand is to question you're either going to die or you're either going to grow fast, right? Like that's what a startup is apparently to many people.
Yeah.
Right, and I think again, so this is part of me practicing challenging traditional notions, is that okay, yes, it can be growing and you have to like be a unicorn or you die, or maybe there's this other path that you can actually define yourself. It's going to be a path less taken often, but it's a path you can define yourself. So for us, we don't want to be growing that big. We tried it, we hated it, and it hurt so much to let go of people because we messed up. And we don't want to stall or plateau because that's just not learning anything. So there must be a path somewhere. We'll carve it out. We'll figure it out. Maybe there's this path where we literally just call ourselves a small giant, which is this book that I'm reading. And you define your own rules. You define your own path. You can still pay really well. You can still enjoy life. You can still go travel. You can still have customers. You can still do all of this. It just takes more effort and time to like figure it out. But if you're up for it, you can carve your own path and defy or just like ignore all that noise that just doesn't fit you, right? Again, with that hand, like set of carved hands in your hand, you have unique constraints and unique personalities and characteristics that only fit you. Again, maybe these two paths just won't like make sense for you. So who's to stop you, or who's to say that you can't carve your own path and figure that out?
I like that. So I feel like a lot of what we've been talking about is just really figure out what's important to you, and then
knowing that, like, figuring out what's
Yeah.
important to you, but knowing that, like, it doesn't have to be what's currently out there too.
exactly. And if it's not out there, you can create it for yourself.
Absolutely. I feel like you started like doing that like this past year as well. Like I was inspired by like your story. She paid me to say that, so yeah. Yeah, I felt like you figured, like you were like, man, something's not fitting, like it's not working out. I'm gonna have to figure this out. And you took the time and effort and intelligence to like carve your own path, right? Yes, there are people who, you know, do YouTube full time and everything like that. Yes, there's that path, but you're gonna do it your way, right? You're gonna come up with your own topics and then like give it your own flavor. So it's possible. It just literally does take a little bit more time and effort into it, but it can be so much more fulfilling and like gratifying, and like you're just at peace and you just enjoy it.
With friends like these.
And her.
I'm set. Okay. All right. Okay.
So let me
Parting thoughts.
Parting thoughts. If there's one thing that I can take away, is that
One thing that they can take away.
sorry, one thing you can take away
So how about you, Tim?
that I can take away now is you know, so Steve Jobs said this best. It's like
everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
anything and everything around you that is intangible or tangible was built by human beings just like you and I. Probably no different, right? Like we're just all human beings. And they built it their way. They built their own vision around it. And it probably stuck around for a very long time because it was the easy thing to adopt or to have and to maintain. And it's up to you if you want to like take that path because it's right for you, or if you realize that it's not and you're just not happy, you can question it and say like, who built that? What were they thinking at that time? And if you really want to like find that happiness inside of you to mold your own path, you can absolutely do so, right? You can absolutely do so. Find the right community around it, find people related to you around that, and it gives you that confidence. And just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just experiment with it.
He was wearing a shirt earlier, not now, but
Yes,
when
just
we
do
had
you.
brunch earlier, it's just do it.
No, just do you.
Just do you.
You can frame it as an experiment. I think you and I are very afraid to like change lives.
We take it too seriously.
But it's like it can be deemed as a huge commitment too, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I need to change direction completely. Maybe just frame it as an experiment and say like, for this amount of weeks, I'm just gonna try it out a little bit. Just maybe dip my toes, right? That's okay.
That's actually what I did with this.
There you go.
For 6 months. I'm just gonna try.
Just try it, right? Just dip your toes in it, and then if you don't like it, go another path. It's okay, just let it go. But if you start to like generate like some happiness, and maybe you can log it down and document it so that you can review it yourself. But after a few weeks, if you like it, or if after a few days you like it, elevate to the next level. Say like, okay, what is next that I can like experiment with? And that's what I've been doing with my personal life. Questioning things and being like, if I'm not happy with this, with the existing path, I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna experiment with it, and if I like it, maybe I'm gonna share it with the world so that they know that it's possible as well. And if you can be doing that, I think with the amazing amount of mediums that we can obtain and share information today, we can learn a lot from each other and continually be better and happier at the end of our lives at 99 years old in your deathbed.
Stay curious, stay hungry, stay foolish. Ask the right questions. You know, it's funny, the whole time you're talking about like, you didn't say challenge the status quo, but everything you're talking about, I was like, damn, we got a young Steve Jobs here.
No. It is challenging, and just like, just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Having fun with it.
Not an asshole, more real.
Hopefully.
All right, let's go walk around.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Approved.
I like it a lot.
Stamped.
Best advice you would give your younger self?
You know, I would tell my younger 20-year-old self or 25-year-old self nothing, but then I would just say thank you.
Right.
Yeah, shit. Bro just created the ultimate selfie stick with your tripod, and it's very long. This is how far I can view. my gosh, aerial view.
If you could put a billboard anywhere, where would you put it and what would you say on it?
Be a good people, love people, and use things.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around.